Welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I am Adrian Atkinson. Coming up on Get the Facts, we look into the relationship between Jamaica and the European Union. Later, we find out more on how you, yes you, can get the title for the land you're currently living on, which is not on the books as yours. All this and more coming up this half hour, so stay tuned as the magazine unfolds. Jamaica and the European Union have had a very fruitful relationship over the years. The head of the EU delegation to Jamaica joins us this week on Get the Facts as we explore the nature of this relationship and discuss plans to continue strengthening the bond that exists.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. Now, today we share aspects of the partnership between Jamaica and the European Union. In studio with me is head of the EU delegation to Jamaica, Ambassador Malgorzata Wasilewska. Welcome, Ambassador. Welcome to the program. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Would you tell us a little about the European Union before we, just to set the context?
Sure. So European Union is, first of all, the most successful peace project in the world because it started as a result of very bloody two wars in Europe which affected most of Europe. So peace project, but most people think of it as the most successful regional integration, so a political and economic union of governments and people of 28 countries in Europe. It is fantastic how successful it is. I myself, as you know, am from Poland, and I experienced the difference it has made for the people of my own country and the neighboring countries. The last expansion of European Union brought 10 new member states. It was 15 years ago, and the difference it brought to our lives is phenomenal. But the European Union is also a fantastic diversity of people, of languages, of culture, of history, of architecture.
How many countries?
28.
28 now. And we're hoping that it will stay at 28.
I personally very much hope so.
Yes. So the focus now is not so much on peace, but other issues.
So political and economic integrity. Together we're so much stronger.
Yes.
Together we thrive. Together we have so much to share, so much to learn from each other. I particularly cherish it with the generation of my son, who is 26. They embrace Europe the way that we were only embracing one country when I was growing up. People can study, work anywhere they want in Europe. There's freedom of movement and free trade inside Europe. It really makes a huge difference.
Okay, so there's been a 40-year relationship between EU and Jamaica. How would you describe that relationship?
Well, it is first of all a partnership. I think people think of donors as these diplomats who come with big bags of money to build and to impose our values. It's not the case. That's how development assistance was perceived many years ago. It's a partnership because we support the priorities of the people of Jamaica, Jamaica's own vision for the prosperity of its people. And we support the sectors that are agreed together with the government as those areas that need most support in order to improve people's lives.
Tell us about some of the areas now for which you've given support and the impact it has had on Jamaicans.
When I travel through the country, it is quite astounding how many places I find European logo saying that this project or this road or this school has been supported by European funds. I have to admit, I don't even know all of them. We were reflecting about this with the team, that it would be good to be able to tell a more complete story. But we have most people, when you travel through the junction, to North Coast Highway don't notice that there is a Schumann roundabout because European Union funded both roads along the coast. But I hope most notice that it's a good road and pleasant to travel on. Today we have three main areas that we support. So justice sector, health sector, forestry under climate change and disaster preparedness, and a little bit of support on public finance management.
Right. You've also done some work with poverty alleviation.
Yes.
The Jamaica Social Investment Fund.
Yes, we have been working with Jamaica Social Investment Fund for many years. This is a third rendition of the program, and it focuses really on the poorest communities and some of the most basic infrastructure, but it also offers vocational training to many people, as well as opportunity of internship. I think that's key because too many young Jamaicans leave education system too early and struggle to find that first job. So the internship has been extremely
Is there any one
popular.
project under that program that stands out for you?
I visited quite a few. It's difficult to say that they stand out, but for me it's always moving when you see what difference they make in people's lives, because in some places we provide water purification or plumbing. In other communities we remove the zinc fences with proper walls. But when you meet a person who benefited from a tiny support of the project and suddenly they have a bit of income and with that a bit of dignity, that's always extremely
The European
moving.
Union also has done some work with the justice system, repairing courts and so on. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
That's one of the biggest programs, and in fact it's the second time running that we support justice sector. So strengthening the infrastructure, but giving people better access to justice through peace centers, so people can seek mediation to resolve their conflict instead of going to courts, but also with better infrastructure and more judges. We hope the courts will be able to function quicker, that the proceedings will be shorter, and therefore the big backlog that the country is struggling with will be reduced, because access to justice is one of the most basic human rights.
Definitely.
And I think considering the levels of crime in Jamaica, it is essential that people feel that justice is there for them.
Yes. You're watching Get the Facts. We take a short break now. When we return, we have more information for you on EU-Jamaica relations. Stay with us.
We can no longer turn a blind eye to our children. Each of us have the duty to protect them. As we continue to strengthen our protection campaign, we ask that you try positive discipline. Talk not once, twice, 3 times, 7 times even. In talking to your child, you make them comfortable to tell you about what is affecting them. Tell our children the truth and tell them what is wrong and why. We remind our parents, if you are having difficulties with your child, we are here for you, to support you, along with the many other agencies that are set up for this purpose. Additionally, we remind parents that if you see another parent in need of help or sound advice, reach out and provide support. Every child is our child.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We're discussing the long-standing relationship between Jamaica and the European Union. In studio with me is head of the EU delegation to Jamaica, Ambassador Malgorzata Vasilevska. Ambassador, let us start with this segment with this question. Budget support has become a mutually preferred mode of financing for the EU programs in Jamaica. Tell us why.
Well, budget support is a particular modality that a country has to qualify for. And It's not granted to everybody because there has to be sound public finance management, transparency, accountability, reporting, and so on. So first of all, that's already a sign of trust and progress that Jamaica has made over the years, because in the past that modality was used and then it collapsed. So with the success of the IMF program, and I'd like to take the opportunity to congratulate the administration and the people of Jamaica for the progress it has made in that area. The country qualifies for budget support again. But it's a modern spirit of partnership, because unlike in the past, when a donor would come, build a school, for example, and deliver to the people, here we support, but the ownership and the leadership is by the government. So for proper budget support, there has to be a sound sectoral policy with very clear objectives and deliverables for us to put money in that sector over a in different tranches over a period of time. But there is very careful costing, and deliverables are monitored in a sectoral policy dialogue with the government. And of course, if they are not met 100%, the next tranche is affected. So although, so to say, we don't follow the penny, and that gives the government a little bit of space, and which is particularly appreciated because the fiscal space in Jamaica with repayment of debts is quite narrow. We do monitor very carefully the deliverables, but it's fantastic to give that lead and ownership of the sector to the government, and it's the government that delivers the results to the people with the support of European Union.
We should point out too that most of your funding is in grant, right? So
Indeed.
It doesn't impact the whole debt servicing. Yes.
Indeed, most of the bilateral cooperation and assistance is, or in fact, all of it is non-refundable grants to the people, from the people of Europe to the people of Jamaica. And I need to stress that, because it is the taxpayers' contribution, it's taxpayers' money that constitutes the development assistance. But we also have loans. So if the government or if the private sector needs that form of assistance, that is also available, and that goes beyond. And over the years, the government of Jamaica has taken many loans from European Investment Bank. Many of them are already fully repaid, but that gives a chance also to go into big infrastructure projects. And I was quite impressed when I looked at the list of what has been funded over the years with the support of Europe.
Right, good. I want to move now to the recent visit that we had. We had a high-level meeting, and we had discussions about the Cotonou arrangement, which is to end in 2020, and also bilateral agreement discussions with our Prime Minister and members of the government. Tell us about that. What came out of that, and how will Jamaicans benefit?
Sure. I was very happy that Jamaica hosted that regional consultation between European Union and CARIFORUM on the legal agreement, which will really be the basis of our partnership and our cooperation in the future. As you mentioned, the Cotonou Agreement runs out in 2020. And when this current agreement was negotiated back in 2000, Europe was very different, because it wasn't Europe of 28 member states. And the 10 new member states bring quite a different voice into the discussion. And sadly, I don't feel that the region has engaged with the 10 new member states adequately yet in order to make sure that they're supportive of where this new partnership is going to take us. But it should also be a different kind of partnership, a modern partnership, which is about our priorities, global priorities, about what we stand for and support in multilateral forums, and how we work together on issues which affect all of us today, as well as what further assistance we can bring to the countries. But obviously with the economic growth, and I wish to the people of Jamaica that the growth continues successfully and fast, but with the graduation, of course, that relationship will change gradually into more private sector to private sector relations, and our mutual role will be to attract investments from Europe and better partnerships for the future.
Specific to Jamaica?
Specific to the region, but of course I am interested particularly in Jamaica, Belize, Bahamas, the countries that I cover. Specific to Jamaica in terms of bilateral cooperation, because Jamaica has a very strong voice and I would even say a leading voice in the regional discussions. But specifically for Jamaica, we will be very soon starting conversations on what should be the priorities for our support after 2020 within the bilateral envelope. But I think the new agreement will bring a lot more flexibility. We're not going to be locked into amounts and sectors the way we have been so far. So if the country is doing well, hopefully there should be space for more cooperation and more assistance.
Let's move now to Europe Day. It's coming up on May 9. Tell us about the history of Europe Day and its relevance.
Well, Europe Day is very much like a celebration of an national day. We call it Schumann Day, and we celebrate it very much the same way as any countries celebrate their national days here. It's an opportunity to reflect on the partnership, acknowledge the partnership, invite guests to a reception to celebrate good cooperation in many areas, and reflect on how important this partnership is to us.
Right. And then there's a film festival coming up in June, which will see more mixing of Jamaicans and Europeans, yes? Tell me about that.
Sure. Well, following the success of last year, we are very keen to make the European Film Festival a little bit bigger and better. So it's an opportunity to bring European culture, European films to the people of Jamaica, and despite the fact that the films come in different languages, we really enjoyed fantastic attendance last year. There were even people who came to every single screening of the film, and following again the success of last year, we are keen to take the films to different locations. We will be focusing on students and young people this year, so we're hoping to show films at UWI, UTEC, Campion and Maiko colleges, but we also we hope to have the opening again in the Spanish Court, and we would like to have at least one public screening, possibly in Emancipation Park. I'm not sure whether we can repeat the Ambassador Theatre in Trenchtown this year, but you never know. But apart from that, we're trying to also show films outside of Kingston, because people
I'm happy for that.
in other parts of the country were asking us to take it out of Kingston. So this year we will start with Montego Bay and Treasure Beach. Next year it would be my dream that we can also go to some of the more remote parts of Jamaica. But I have to admit also that it's an exercise made on a shoestring, and we rely very much on cooperation of our member states, our honorary consuls. Each day is owned by the representative of a country that offers to show the film. But I'm very proud that we can have it again this year. It will start on the 3rd of June and will last a whole week. But as soon as we have more details, we'll be trying to publish it on our social media.
Yes, and we'll be happy to get that information so we can pass it on.
And I hope you come.
Yes. Ambassador, we're really happy that we could have had you today on the show, and we hope you'll come back again.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. We often feel that people in Jamaica don't know enough about what this partnership is about. Why is European Union here? What do we represent? Or even where are all those mysterious 28 countries? I think most people know 2 or 3, but probably not the rest of them.
Okay. Thank you so very much. This has been Get the Facts, and we're talking about the Jamaica-European Union relations. Our guest was head of the EU delegation to Jamaica, Ambassador Malgorzata Vasilevska. Join us again next time when we give you more facts. I'm Rose Campbell. Take good care.
The Disabilities Act will protect the rights of all persons with disabilities. And here's a great teaching moment. Every person with a disability, like a deaf or hard of hearing child, for example, has the right to an education with accessible facilities and the support they need. In this case, it would be a teacher who can use the language of the deaf, which is sign language. Visit jcpdja.com. A message from the JCPD, an agency of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Have you been living on land for years with no title? Maybe it was previously owned by a relative or someone who also had no title, and you now need proof of ownership to continue living on this property or just to have a sense of entitlement. Find out more on how this could be you in our next feature.
Becoming a landowner is a significant feat for most people. That feeling of entitlement and success of being able to turn your own key and say, "Welcome to my home." This could be you, and the government is doing its part through the Adjudication Services Division of the National Land Agency.
Systematic registration is defined as the process of land titling through a determined jurisdiction, and it's performed on a commune-by-commune basis. Now, what exactly does that mean? It means that it's the methodical and orderly registration of parcels of land in a designated area using the adjudication process. Adjudication is defined as the process through which existing rights in a parcel of land are finally and authoritatively ascertained. Key things to note: adjudication doesn't alter existing rights or create new ones. It merely establishes what rights exist on ground.
Now that we've established the definition of these very important terms, let's get down to the meat of the matter. You have a piece of land, or you've been living on land that you do not have the title for, but have legitimate claims. Let's find out how you can go about becoming certified landowners utilizing the National Land Agency's adjudication services.
Systematic registration may be new to Jamaica, but it's certainly not new to the world. At the National Land Agency, we have a wealth of information on unregistered land parcels in Jamaica. So currently we know that the parishes with the lowest rates of registration are Portland and St. Elizabeth. So we'll definitely be targeting those two parishes. The mandate of the Adjudication Services Division is to assist landowners who have been in open, undisturbed and undisputed possession of their land for upwards of 12 years to claim ownership of their land via systematic registration using the adjudication process. There's a proposed adjudication process for systematic registration, and we have benchmarked other jurisdictions, and the adjudication process will entail the following. The first is the identification of an adjudication area, project area. The next step will look at what are the areas in those parishes where there's a lot of economic activity, or they're near town centers, probably farmlands, where these farmers will be able to benefit from having a certificate of title to use as collateral security. Once an area has been identified, a recommendation will be made to the minister to declare that area as an area for systematic registration.
Surveying will go hand in hand with the adjudication process, so you can look out for the team from the Adjudication Services Division, as they will be situated within the selected communities. These teams will be visiting households parcel by parcel, interviewing landowners and investigating whether or not they have been in open, undisturbed and undisputed possession of their land for over 12 years.
The adjudication record, it will be published in a daily newspaper circulating not only in Jamaica but across the diaspora. So it's not only notice to community members and notice to Jamaica, but it is notice to the world that persons are claiming to be the owners of land. Now, let me start with the positive. Where there are no objections to the adjudication record, as the director, I'll be able to issue what is known as an adjudication certificate. And this adjudication certificate will be deemed to be conclusive proof of ownership. This is now the documentary proof that the person on that certificate is in fact the owner of the land. Where there are objections, however, all these objections will be referred to the adjudication committees, and adjudication committees are established in accordance with Section 9 of the Special Provisions Act to determine ownership rights in land.
Now that I've given you the basic information that you need to regularize your status as a landowner, it's now up to you to make that step. All the best.
The Electoral Commission of Jamaica, ECJ, has extended the validity of all voters' IDs. Yes, I said it. All voters' IDs are valid until December 31, 2019. Businesses are being asked to continue to accept voter ID cards as a valid form of identification. Don't worry, the ECJ will continue to process new and replacement ID cards until the new expiration date. For more information, call toll-free at 1-888-991-8683 or email eojinfo@eoj.com.jm. The Electoral Commission of Jamaica, committed to free and fair elections.
This Child Month, part of the government's efforts is to end discrimination against children with special needs. Some of what we would consider special needs includes, but are not limited to, autism and Down syndrome. Many of you may be guilty for using the R word at some time or another in your life to make fun of these children or simply to reference them. If you haven't stopped, you should do so today, as the R word is an insult. As we go forward in our lives, let us encourage our children to learn about and be a friend to other children who have special needs. They are humans like you and me. They deserve a chance, and we all need to support them. Change needs to happen because people with special needs deserve to be treated fairly and with respect, as we aim to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Send us your feedback on today's show to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. Also follow us on our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and of course there's Twitter. Download our app on your Apple and Android devices, and you can also visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.